Welcome to Ability Assistance. My name is Phyllis Jones, Chair of the North Andover Commission on Ability Assistance.
My name is Stacy Leibowitz, Secretary of the North Andover Commission on Ability Assistance.
North Andover residents, please stay tuned after the show for important information about various town announcements. Our guest today is MEVA Transit, and representing MEVA, we have New York Mendez Almonte, Director of Communications, and former state representative for the 14th Essex, Christina Minacucci, who's actually now the development director. I haven't had my tea yet this morning.
Welcome.
Welcome, ladies.
We're happy to have you.
And welcome, you're the first guests on our new set.
Sofa. We're very excited about it. Very comfortable.
We feel special.
Yes.
So, public transportation in the Merrimack Valley. I know personally, I see the buses driving around.
Yeah.
I have no clue how to operate public transportation in our area. Let's focus in, though, on the mini MEVA vans,
Yes. Mm-hmm.
because that focuses more on those who we represent more on this show. Why don't we talk about starting ADA service?
All right, so the ADA service for the mini MEVA is for people that have a certain disability that doesn't allow them to walk or to wait for the fixed bus routes, right? And it could be, they need to be in the system, which they need to do an application, and it's a very simple application. They can go either and get the application at our main office in Bradford, right? 85 Railroad Ave, or we can even mail the application to them. So once they fill out the application, the only tricky part that on the application that people tend to get confused on is on the part that it says that it has to be certified by a professional person in the medical field.
Okay.
That does not mean that it has to be your doctor. It could be a physical therapist. It could be some other type. And if they have any questions, they can always call us if they need guidance in the application. So this service specifically for people either over 60 or people with disability, and once they're in the system, they can book their rides 1 day in advance. And this is a curb-to-curb service, which means that the vans goes right outside their homes and drops them off right outside the destination point.
That's amazing.
Yes.
Which is
really
super
helpful.
convenient
Yes.
for some people, right? And they can also use this service to access our fixed routes.
Mm-hmm.
For example, if they're able to go to the station, for example, and they get dropped off at the station, it could be either at the Haverhill Transit Station or at Buckley in Lawrence, and then from there they can use the fixed bus system, right? Because the fixed buses might not serve the area where they live. So that's how they can use the mini MEVAs to get to the big buses.
Now, what happens, I'm in the system, I get a mini MEVA to pick me up at my home, to then bring me to Lawrence, where the fixed routes are. But I can't get onto, because I have a physical disability, I can't get onto the fixed bus. Do those fixed buses have ADA accessibility to them?
Right, and that's a great question. So all of our vehicles are accessible.
Okay.
The big
Okay.
buses have a ramp that deploys, and
Okay.
even someone on a wheelchair is able to ride the buses.
Okay.
There's 2 spots in the front of the bus where they get secured and they can ride anywhere they want.
That's great.
And not only that, even if you don't need the ramp and you have like issues with your knee or had surgery recently that doesn't allow you to go up a step, our buses all kneel down, which means that the drivers push a button and the bus just drops.
And then it gives people the opportunity, for those of us who know Boston transportation, to do the equivalent of transferring from the blue line to the green line,
Right.
sort of a
Right,
situation.
Right.
We also, especially in our newer buses, this is very clear and obvious, but everything is written also, like where the stop is. So it'll say, right inside the bus,
Okay.
you're coming to Haverhill Transit, and it speaks. So if you have any sort of vision impairment or hearing impairment, you can still ride the bus because you still know where you're getting off.
So-
Those
and
are our
it's-
fixed route buses.
Right, and is it also in Spanish?
I was about to say, is it
multilingual?
Well,
It's currently not in Spanish, it's only in English, but now we are upgrading our software
Okay,
because we were not able to do that before. But pretty soon, we're gonna be able to update the software in a way that we can use multiple languages
That's
and
great.
do different types of announcements on the
Mhm.
annunciators.
that's great.
Because I would think for safety purposes alone, irregardless of whether or not you have a disability of some sort.
Right, and we also do we do have travel training videos on our website that are extremely helpful. And what it does is like we have videos that show you how to ride the bus. Right now we're working on putting bus stop signs in our system, which we don't have a lot of, and that's gonna help a lot.
Yes.
So for example, how you take the bus, you have to flag it down. There's no
Okay.
specific stops except at plazas and a few bus stop signs that we have put up.
Okay.
We're also working on installing shelters.
Mm-hmm.
So all that stuff is gonna help. But right now it can be a little tricky because people are not 100% sure where to wait for the bus or which bus to take because there's nothing out there that tells
Especially
them,
in
right?
North Andover.
Right.
You'll see
It's
somebody
very
standing on the
limited.
street and you,
Yeah.
my whole thing is do they need help?
Yeah.
Right.
You know?
Right.
Right.
Right, because
it's
it's
not
not-
clear that it's a
it's not
bus
clear,
stop, and
right?
it's near where I live. It's like that you see people sort of waiting. There's a bench, but that's about it.
Right.
There's no clear definition.
So,
and
yeah.
just to be clear, this is for the bus as opposed to Mini-Miva, right? I
Yes.
just want to
Right.
make sure there's that
Right,
distinction because
so-
we kind of slid into that a little bit.
So we do understand that's a little challenging and intimidating for those
Yeah.
that are not used to riding our service, right? So that's something that we're working with the cities and towns that we serve, so we can install bus stop signs and shelters wherever we can. We just ask the communities to be a little patient because it's a long process, but it's important that they know that we do understand the situation that we're working to solve the issue.
Well, you know, I think personally you folks have brought a lot on board.
Mm-hmm.
If for no other reason, having this door-to-door service that you can book one day in advance,
It's amazing.
because that in and of itself is huge
Yeah.
for people.
Right, and I haven't mentioned, but just so you know, for those that don't know yet, we are free. So all of our fixed routes are free.
Yeah, that's essential.
Our Mini-Mivas are free.
Mm-hmm.
It could be either the ADA Mini-Miva, which is the one that's for people with disability or over 60. We also have the non-ADA Mini-Miva. That's for people that's over 60, not necessarily with a disability. And it's the same service. They pick you up outside your house and they bring you to where you need to go. And we also have another service that's called MediRide, which it's gonna be renamed to Medi-Miva. Yes. So this service, we do go to Boston hospitals, 14 in total in Boston, and there's one in Peabody too, which you can see on the website. We have a list there of the hospitals we serve, and this service is completely free. We go to Boston on Mondays, Tuesdays, and Thursdays, and just like the rest of our services, it's 100% free.
Is there an age requirement for the medical piece?
It's 60 and over.
60 and over.
Or if you
Okay.
have any
Or if you
documented
have-
disability.
Yeah, because I was going to
any
say,
age.
what if
Yeah.
you have,
Right.
you're under 60, but you have a
Right.
documented disability, that would still apply?
So it's the same application. So once
Okay.
you're in the system, you use the service that you qualify for.
Right.
You don't
Okay.
have to do like 3 applications. You do one application, you're in the system, and then you use whichever service fits you, right?
Okay.
And what I recommend people, because I know some people are like, oh, but I don't need it. I have someone to drive me. And I suggest them, you don't lose anything by having the application be in the system. And if the time comes, then you're already in the system. It's just a phone call away.
That's
right?
right.
And one of the questions I have is a lot of it seems to be focused on age, but we have people who high functioning autism, for example, that want independence, that are 25 years old. You know, what about for people like that who, you know, or somebody who's visually impaired or mobily impaired, but they're not considered senior citizens?
And that's fine, and that's what that ADA application is
Right,
for. So
right.
you fill out the application, and it can be a social worker, it can be a psychiatrist, it could be your pediatrician, for example, for a younger person. Especially in North Andover, we only have 2 fixed route buses in North Andover. So anybody who lives sort of out country in North Andover really would have trouble accessing the fixed route lines. And we do have people who, you know, live in town who have put in the application for that exact reason, where they want to have independence, they don't have a license, they have a qualified disability, and they can take the mini MIVA to Market Basket and then hop on a fixed route line and go downtown North Andover, or go to Lawrence, or you know, you can keep on going out to Salisbury Beach, but you can take the bus and all those places, and it's all free.
Right.
So you know, the mini MIVA is more than just the door-to-door service. It's also to help people have access to the fixed route lines. And in talking with a lot of people, they like using the fixed route because they like to be able to interact with the bus drivers, with the other people who are on the bus, and to be able to be independent and follow the bus routes. So it's, you know, I think it's a good mix, and they work together very nicely.
Right.
And I like the fact that, you know, where you're planning on putting bus signs up and you know, stations, so that people have a little protection from the weather, because as we know in New England, it's
Yes.
it's changeable at any
Yes.
moment.
Yes.
I know for myself, I grew up in Framingham, and we had local into Framingham Transit, and we knew where the buses were, and this is back in the 1980s. And we knew the routes, and we knew where we can get them, and we knew how to get around. And I used to take it from what is now just Framingham High School to the Natick Mall to go to work. And I think something like this would be fantastic also for young people who,
Right.
you know, heck, when I was coming back from school, when I was in DC, I would take the shuttle from Boston to Framingham, and then take the bus service to closer to my home. And you know, my parents didn't necessarily have to pick me up anywhere.
Right.
So I'm thinking also of kids in college,
Oh yeah.
Oh, yes.
to give them the independence as well.
And we do serve different colleges. We have a bus route that goes to NECO
Okay.
in Haverhill. We have the other one that goes to UMass Lowell Conference Center in Lowell.
Okay.
And obviously our station is close to the NECO in Lawrence.
For people who don't know that, that's Northern Essex Community College.
Yes, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we do serve
What
some
about
colleges in the area. We have the 33 that goes a block away from Merrimack
Merrimack
College.
College.
Right,
also.
right.
So,
And there is a sidewalk
yeah.
that goes up. And when they did all the construction, they did put in a sidewalk that goes up, which there didn't used to
Yeah.
be. So it's even better to get there. So.
No, that's fantastic. I know you have to go
Yes.
early,
So
we
we
can-
appreciate you being
Yes.
here, Neo, to discuss the details of Mini MIVA. Thank you so much. We're going to take a quick break.
and we'll
so
come back
we'll
with
come right back.
Christina
Great.
Thanks for having me.
Thank you.
Great to meet you.
anytime. Okay, so we're going to continue on. One of our guests had to step away, and we appreciate her being here. So we're going to put you on the spot, Christina.
That's okay.
So let's talk about the application process to the best we can.
Sure.
Is it online at all?
Yes.
Okay.
So on our website, you can access all of the information. And we're redoing our website now, which will make it even easier to find. But there is a full application. It's in 5 different languages, so that it's, but people would have to have access to a printer to be able to print it at home, which is why we have the alternatives of you can call, we can mail it, you can pick it up in person. So we try to make it as accessible as possible. One of the things we didn't talk a lot about is our what our positions are at MIVA, but Neo does communications, and the two of us have gone out on a lot of, we make visits to councils on aging. We've gone to the clubhouse, the Point After Clubhouse in Lawrence, as well as the one in Haverhill. We always bring applications with us. We've gone to different senior housing complexes
Can
all
we have
throughout the
some of those
area.
applications? We can leave it at the senior center if we already don't
Yes.
have them in North Andover. And the public library.
And the library. And so like one of the outreach tools, for example, last week I reached out to our community coordinator in North Andover, Deanna Lima, and we're coordinating all of the heads of the different departments to be able to come in. We can talk to them about Mini-MIVA, about fixed route, how people can fill out the application, because, you know, for example, my mother is over 60. She does not live on a fixed route. She would qualify for this if she wanted to be able to take the Mini-MIVA to a fixed route, and those are the different options. So for people, and I think that it's a pretty straightforward application. It's not onerous. Some other transit authorities, it's a little bit more difficult. You have to present yourself and prove in some way that you are who you say you are. And our application is a little bit more simple, and again, like social workers, which we have 6 who work here in North Andover. So we have 6 on-staff social workers in the town. It's a little bit easier to be able to start the process. We usually say 3 weeks for the
Yeah, I was going
application to be
to- yes,
processed,
I was
but
gonna
it
ask
can
about
be
that.
much faster than that,
Okay.
just depending on how
That's
many we
reasonable.
have in the queue.
What
So-
about, I know so many times the doctors are like, can I just give you a note?
Yeah.
You know, can they attach just a doctor's note? Does it
I
have
think
to
for
be
the-
the signature on the application?
A doctor's note would probably suffice, yes. And it is, again, it's super simple. It's like we don't want to make it impossible for people, because there are lots of, as we know, hidden and invisible disabilities.
Yes.
And
Yeah.
for a lot of people, you know, part of it is just getting over the hurdle of making that phone call to the doctor and getting the doctor.
Right.
And the more steps you have to go through, sometimes the harder it is to finish
And
the process.
these days with doctors,
Getting an
it's usually not
appointment.
even the doctor that's signing. It might be a nurse practitioner.
Yeah.
It might be, but even with that, I know from my history of working in disability services that, especially with COVID, getting that information back can be challenging.
That's right.
So making it as
Right.
easy as possible,
Yeah.
I think, is that's really great.
And at a lot of our
Yeah.
senior centers and, you know, even at some of the housing complexes, there are social workers on staff, and they
Right.
know they know everybody
Yeah.
very well, and they know if
Correct.
someone really can't access it for whatever reason.
Right.
They're aware of what people's challenges are, and it really makes the difference. You know, I was talking to one woman, and she had decided just to apply. She's like, I have a car, I can drive, I have all these things, but I have a documented disability.
Right.
She was going to sign up just in case. And she's like, I hadn't used it for a year. You know, and my car broke down. I need to get to work. And I said, oh, I can
Now
call
you
and
can
book a ride. And so she said, I was so happy that I had had the forethought to do it,
Right.
because I was sure I would never, ever need this service. And then here I am needing the service. And, you know, I was happy that I at least put in the application. And so we encourage people to do that, even to just put the application in. Don't use it if you don't need it. You know,
Right,
it's
but
fine.
it's there if
But
you
it's
need
there.
it.
I might actually put in an application for myself
Yeah.
because, you know, as you know, Christina, and you know as well, Stacy, I have epilepsy. And anytime my epilepsy medication gets switched, my doctor asks me not to drive for between 4 and 6 weeks
Yep.
to make sure that things
Right.
work out. And then I have to wait for my husband to take me where I want
Yeah.
to go.
So it gives you something additional.
And it would give
to-
me something additional
Backup.
Yeah.
to get to where I need to get to.
And I guess
And that's one of the things is if our administrator Noah were here, he'd say, ain't nobody's business but your own.
Yeah.
Where you're
It's
going,
true.
why you're
It's
going.
true.
This isn't just for
it
medical
gives you
appointments.
independence.
Yeah.
It gives you independence, which
Sure.
I think is
Which
so
is
important
huge.
for everybody
Yeah.
with a disability, and especially, well, everybody, but also those over 60 and beyond, because at some point you may not be able to drive, and
That's
that's
right.
a terrifying feeling, I'm
Yeah.
sure, for people.
That's right.
And that kind of leads me into a question we were kind of discussing during the break
Yes.
about having that connection to other mass transit. And
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
you were talking about the stations moving and where this is going.
Yeah.
So if you want to address that.
Right. So right now we have a couple main hubs, but the one in Lawrence is at the Buckley Transportation
Yes.
Center, and that's owned by the city of Lawrence. It's not owned by us.
Is
And
that where
it's-
the commuter rail goes in and out?
No, so that's on Common
That's a
Street.
good-
Okay.
Yeah, so that's on Common Street, it's near the Common. And we don't own it, so we don't have control over
Right.
it. But we do own the McGovern Transportation Garage, which is at the Lawrence train station.
Okay.
And so we are in the process right now of relocating our bus hub for Lawrence to McGovern.
Great.
And so that would mean any bus that comes into Lawrence from anywhere will end up at McGovern, and then you'd be able to hop on the train if you wanted to go to Boston, or if you wanted to go to Haverhill, because quite honestly, you can get off at the Haverhill train station and then go on the Downeaster and go up to Maine
Right.
too. So there's other opportunities to go places.
This really gives people a lot of flexibility.
A lot more flexibility. All of our buses, so, we have a bus that leaves Woodridge and North Andover. That bus goes first to Market Basket, and then it goes into Lawrence. It goes to the Greater Lawrence Family Health Center, so if you need a pharmacy, or a lot of people have doctors there. But then it continues on to Lawrence General, and we have extended that service. We've changed that route slightly, so not only does it go to Lawrence General, but then it also stops at the Marston Center. So there's lots of opportunities to get to doctor's appointments, to get to shopping, to get to pharmacy, wherever you need to go. And then we also try to help people get to other activities, like if you need to go to, you want to go to the Common in Lawrence because there's a festival going on, you can get there. And I think that Neo explained it pretty well, but our buses are all accessible. Our fixed route buses are also all accessible. So while that mini MIVA service is great for the door-to-door, the fixed route buses are so easy to get in and out of. There are no stairs, and it's really easy to get on and off, which is
Now,
nice.
what about how many days a week does this operate? Is this 7 days a week?
No. So we run Monday to Saturday,
Okay.
starting at 5 o'clock in the morning. And in Lawrence, we run, our last bus leaves at 7 from Lawrence, and our last buses leave Haverhill at 6.
Okay.
So it's 5 to 6
Sundays
and 5
are
to
kind
7.
of,
And Sunday, we don't have coverage,
Okay.
but there's currently, the legislature is currently there, the budget is in conference committee right now.
Yep.
Yes.
And so the Senate put some really strong language around RTAs, and both the House and the Senate
Right.
authorized additional funding for
And
RTAs.
Bruce
What if
was
somebody
telling
wants
us
to
when
go to-
off camera, when he was here, for those who don't know, we're talking about Senator Tarr.
Yep.
But Bruce was talking about that off camera to us, and I said, no, Christina's going to be on later.
Yeah.
But I do know that, that is a big deal.
It is.
Yeah, it is. If somebody
For-
wants to go to church on a Sunday, or has
Right.
other family plans, or anything,
Because it's more
Sunday
right.
is still a day.
Sunday is a day, and people
Still do things.
people still work.
Yeah.
But people want to visit family, and we hear that a lot from people. They say, I can't visit anybody on Sunday,
Yes.
because again,
Unless they get a ride from a family
they have to
member.
get right.
Yeah.
And
Or
that
even
mini
later
MIVA
in the
service
day.
Yeah.
doesn't run. It doesn't run on
Yeah.
Sundays. If we're
Yeah.
not running fixed routes, mini MIVA's not running either. So
Right,
for
so none of the services are
none of our
running on
services
Sunday.
run. So but people say, I want to go see family. I want to go to that
Yeah.
that event that's happening on the Common on a Sunday.
Yeah.
Whatever it is. We can't. We don't run a service, but
Right.
the budget is about $50 million over the governor's budget for RTAs, which will allow us to run later in the evening. Because again, if you're in New York City, you're in Boston, your day is not ending at 7 or 8 o'clock at night,
Exactly.
right?
Right.
If you
It
have
just
to
keeps
work
going.
even at Market Basket, it doesn't close till 9. And we have a lot of riders who say, can you run until 10 so I can get off my shift, get
Yeah.
on and still get home?
And have reliable transportation.
And have reliable
Exactly.
transportation. And previously only 7% of the transportation budget went to RTAs, all the RTAs, all 15 RTAs across the state. The remaining dollars go to the T. So we're like, can we at least have 10%? Because we
Yeah.
serve most
Yeah.
of the people in the state. Most of the
Exactly.
communities in the
I
state
mean,
actually
Boston
live in
is a
RTA
portion,
communities.
but it's
Yeah.
like, what about
Right.
those outlying
Yeah.
communities?
That's right.
And granted, we're suburban,
Yeah.
kind of urban. Lawrence is urban, so there's a mixture. But
Yeah.
then dealing with those who might be in more rural
Yes.
areas,
Yeah.
so it's
I'm
like,
thinking
look, we're
Springfield or
yeah.
out west.
I mean,
Oh,
most
yeah,
of
out
the
west.
state is
Is
the
rural.
rest of the state.
I mean, in even our region, we hear a lot from people, and especially
Yeah.
actually
Yeah.
the disability community, we hear from
I'm sure.
a lot, because this is their reliable transportation.
it is.
This is how people
need
get
it.
to their programs. This is how people get to shopping, jobs, you name it. It's all on our transportation, and it being free has made a big impact on
Oh,
people.
I'm sure. It's
and
made
we're
it
only one
possible.
of 2 RTAs who do that across the state. So.
Really?
Yeah.
Yes.
Who's the
That-
other one out
I
of
was gonna-
curiosity?
Worcester.
Okay.
Okay.
And we've had, not to disparage our partners, but we've had a lot more success with our Fare Free initiative because we also simultaneously put in a lot of driver benefits, like upped the pay of our drivers, make sure that they get, they have health, they have dental, they have 401k, it's a
Yep.
union job, so it's a solid
that's-
job, and we've
Yes.
been able to keep
And
our
that's
driver
a
pool
huge,
high.
That's a huge, and
Yeah.
that's a really important fact because I know within the disability services community and also transportation in general, that there's been such an issue with staffing, a
Right.
real challenge around that. So having especially that ADA, the call for ride,
Yeah.
knowing that that's going to be staffed
Yep.
is critical. So
Exactly.
you've built,
Right.
some cushioning
Yeah.
around that.
Everything has to go in concert. So
Right.
that has helped us not cut any services.
That's
And
great.
in fact, we've been able to double our service coming out of Lawrence. So that's why you see
amazing.
so many buses coming through North Andover because we're a Lawrence-based service. So you'll see double the buses than we used to. They come every half hour instead of
Right.
every hour. And so we were able to do that because we don't have a driver shortage. Other RTAs are running Monday to Thursday now because they can't even
Can't
get
hire
drivers on
people.
Fridays and Saturdays. So we don't have that problem. And then so we're completely fare free. And so a lot of times people go, what does that mean? Like that you're free.
Yep.
You walk on the bus, there's no fare box. We pulled all the fare boxes out of all of our
So
buses.
you don't even have to feel like,
don't
well,
have to
maybe I
worry
should give a
about it.
donation.
No, there's
Right,
nothing.
there's
the fare
nothing.
box is gone.
You just know you have a
You just
ride.
walk in and you take your ride. And so that has reduced our complaints by over 30%.
great.
So it's our drivers are happier because people aren't complaining because they don't know how to pay or they don't have the
Yeah.
right
They
change
just
or
get
what am
on
I
the-
supposed to do.
Right, they just get on
they get
the
on.
vehicle and
Right.
that's it.
And so that's helped keep our drivers happier. Plus, we have a massage chair. We have a really nice coffee maker that has a hot chocolate, and we've redone our driver's lounge. And it seems like they're just little things,
you
but it has
mean you're-
made a difference.
You mean you're treating your employees with dignity and respect?
Yes, that's. What
Oh
we're
my
doing.
goodness.
And that makes it so much better.
Exactly. Brain freeze.
And I think that also then builds the relationship between the bus driver or the ADA, whichever vehicle is picking somebody up, you have a relationship. And so God forbid you go to pick somebody up, say they called and for some reason they're not coming, that could also be a safety
Yes.
feature there that's like, something's not right here,
Right.
maybe we need to notify somebody.
Yes.
So you're building relationships across the board.
It is, it's true.
I wanted to ask, with the ADA rides that somebody would call for, is that just a one-person ride to where they're going, or are there other people
It's a
on?
shared
How is
ride.
it's a shared ride?
Yep.
And so they're able to figure out the schedule where people are able to get to where they need to on time?
Yes.
Okay.
I mean, and very interestingly, especially in some of the places, in some of the elderly and disabled housing complexes, they have people who work there. So sometimes there'll be a bunch of people from the same place trying to get to some of the same places. So, our dispatchers, that's part of what they do is they're coordinating the rides. Is they
Right.
try to make sure if people are kind of coming from the same places, going to similar places, they try to
That's
do the
right.
best they can to coordinate those rides for the least amount of
Which is why
driving
they have to
around.
call 24 hours
Yes,
in advance.
that makes
Yes.
sense.
Yep.
But also, it's great that they don't have to plan it so far.
Right,
in
and so
advance if
that's
they don't need
specifically
to.
for if you are an ADA ride, so that means that you've had that additional, certification attached
Right.
to your application. That's 1 day, and if you're over 60, it's 2 days.
Okay.
Okay.
So
Still reasonable.
It's still reasonable.
Yeah.
I mean, again, it's not. We can't run a personalized service for people because
Well,
that's not what we do. We're public
no, but
transportation,
it's still
we
very
try to make
fair.
it as
Yeah.
fair and equitable as we can. I think that a lot of people wonder if it has to be doctor appointment. Does it have to be shopping? Does it have to be doctor's appointment? No. Like if someone can go to Phyllis's house, Phyllis has somebody who wants to come and visit, they can come to Phyllis's house.
Oh God, no! I don't want to have to clean
But don't
my
go to
house.
Phyllis's house. She doesn't like cleaning. But again, like you can go to friends, you
Yeah.
can go to
Yep.
family. Like you want to go like the sheep shearing on the town common, for example.
Yep.
Like if you don't have a car, that's not on the fixed
Yeah.
route bus
Yeah.
service. If you're
It gives you the
that's hard to get there.
accessibility.
You can
What
be
gives you
about town
independence.
meeting?
you can be dropped off at town meeting.
That's great.
You
And
just
to vote
need
and to vote.
someplace
For
to.
voting, it doesn't matter.
That's
you do
great.
not have to tell anybody why you're going,
Yeah,
where
it's your
you're going.
independence. It's your
It is
independence.
It is your business only. So we are not it can only be to a hospital. It can anywhere you want to go because
That's
people without cars also have lives.
Yes.
Yes.
And
we
they need to go about
we
life.
appreciate that understanding,
Yeah.
and as well as that well-rounded thought process of also addressing the staffing concerns.
Yeah.
And I think we also talked during the break about MIVA, about, you wanted to discuss what this organization is
Yeah, what
about.
we are.
So
Yeah, just so I think a lot of people see our buses, which are now those bright colored buses
Yes.
that we
Yeah.
rebranded. But we are the public transit authority. So in Massachusetts, there are 15 of us, and we are one of them, and we offer the public transportation. So we cannot, we are sort of a political subdivision of the Commonwealth of Massachusetts is the
Got
best
it.
way to describe us.
Got it.
But we're a government agency, so we get all of our funding from government sources, some federal, some state, and then
Some
all the
local.
municipalities put in some money into. But we do not try to overburden our municipalities. We haven't
Right.
upped their assessments. We really try to hold that as low as possible as a service to the communities.
Now, I'm a little old school
Yeah.
sometimes. I want to go on to, from the mini MIVA, I want to go on to a fixed route, but I don't know how to get from point A to point B. If I'm in Boston, there's a huge map. There used to be little cards with maps on them.
Yes.
And not everybody has a phone to
Yeah.
be able to pull up. How am I going to learn? Okay, I want to get from here to there. I can have the mini MIVA pick me up here to bring me here, but
yeah, what are the routes?
what
Yeah.
are the routes? How do I connect?
So if Neo were here, she would get very excited because Neo is technically our communications director, but we are a very tiny agency, so we all wear a lot of hats. But we're very excited about our new maps. So we did always have maps before. Some of it was actually really complicated for people to understand because our route numbering system makes no sense. Like when the 33 runs through North Andover, why is it the 33? We don't have 33 bus routes. So we've been simplifying our bus routes, and July 1st, we're going to actually come out with our new routing system.
That's
So
great.
that will be more, it actually starts with 1 and goes all the way through. And so there aren't like the
Yay.
38A and the 39B and the, everyone
it
gets
Just
makes
random numbers. And
Right. more
and so
intuitive.
it's much more intuitive. And for people who ride the bus, we've kind of given the sneak peek on Facebook, and our riders are like, oh my gosh, this makes so much more sense than I'm taking a 3 or a
That's
4 or a
awesome.
6. So that's coming out. And so in conjunction with that, we work with our partners at the Merrimack Valley Planning Commission who do all of our mapping, and we are creating a brand new map. And we're going to bring back the cards because Neo is very excited about the
That's
cards.
great.
So that you can put it in your pocket, you can pull out a
Exactly.
system map. And
I have to ask, will there be Braille on that?
That's interesting.
Because what if you have somebody who's seeing impaired who, so just
That-
a
but
question.
but
That's a
that's
really
also
great question.
something, I know in North Andover, we have a Braille machine.
Yeah.
So since North Andover participates,
Yeah.
I know Melissa's probably going to
Maybe
want to
there's-
kill me
That
now.
would be-
Something
Sorry,
else to
Melissa.
do.
Exactly. But I mean, that's something that some of the communities
Yeah.
have, that if they're already participating in the program,
Yep.
they can at least
Have a
type
yeah.
something out in
Right,
Braille.
Right.
And I mean, we're one of the things is we've met with various members of the disability community.
Yep.
We met with Northeast Independent Living, and
Yep.
one of the things that they asked was to make sure that if we have images, that we put the text so that it can be read on our website or on our
Or
Facebook
large of us,
page.
for
Yeah,
those of us
but
who
are a little
Right.
older.
Right, and so just trying to remember
Yeah.
to put all of, so that's actually a really
Yeah,
good comment. So we'll.
And we're going to do a follow-up show. We're going to try to do it over the summer,
Yep.
to do like a kind of tour
Yes.
of what,
That's
what it's like, what the
Yeah.
inside of
Right.
the buses look like.
They're very fun. So the outside of our
Oh,
bus is
yeah.
fun, and the inside of our buses are also fun. And we are replacing. So our new buses have fun, bright colored seats, and
Yes.
so we're replacing some of the material
That's
on all
really
the old
cool.
buses. So to also put the older
love it.
buses will get a facelift.
So they
the
also look
upcoming months.
clean and new.
They are.
Yeah.
And what's really fun about our facility, we have a giant bus wash on site. So you can, the bus, every time the bus comes to sleep at night, it's like Thomas and his friends. When the bus comes to sleep, the bus goes through the bus wash at night and
So
gets
it's all fresh and clean
all
for the
fresh and
next
clean. So
day.
they all go through the
I
bus
love
wash at
it.
night. They get it clean. They get it.
Oh
I
my
love
God,
it.
I love it. I mean,
I think I want to work for you guys.
It's
I
so
want to
funny
take
when
a
people get-
ride.
I want to take a ride
It's
too.
really, you could just go outside and flag it down right out front here.
That's awesome.
But I won't know where I'm going without the maps.
Well, just take
You'll
a
just
ride
go
around.
downtown Lawrence, and then you can stay on and come
we've
back.
been up here a while. We know the area, so
But it's
that's fun.
it's just a great way for people to get where they need to go.
That's awesome.
And I think I think the rebranding, so we're still the Merrimack Valley Regional Transit Authority. That's our official name.
Right.
We can't change it. But we have rebranded to MEVA as our shortened form.
And what does
instead
that
of
stand for?
Merrimack Valley Transit, right? So
Right.
we're MEVA Transit. So
Okay.
all we've done is just shorten it instead of it
Okay.
being MVRTA, which in Spanish is M-A-A-D.
Oh, okay.
It was
So
very
this is just
hard for
easier.
people who didn't speak English. It's hard for people who speak English to say. It's harder for people
Right.
who don't speak English to say. But MEVA can be MEVA in Spanish, so it's very easy. And we changed, now it says, let's go, vamos. So we put
Yep.
it in both languages, and we use the active ability sign on the sides of our buses. We don't have the static
Yeah.
wheelchair. So we've, as through the rebranding, we've also said we need to continue to be more inclusive in all different
Yes.
ways too.
Yes. It's a process.
That's
It's a
right. And so more than just, we're going to wrap our buses and they're going to look cool, but we're going to still have crummy service of some
Yeah,
kind. We're like,
yeah.
no, our service is going to be even better than the way our buses
Yes.
look. So we're going to
you're-
improve our
You've
service.
really
You're in it.
done this from point zero.
Yeah.
You're starting as if
Mail
it-
trucks.
Yeah, if it doesn't. But you're rebranding it to the extent of it's almost going to be like completely brand new.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so we did the wrap the bus and then, changed the logos and things like that, but also improved our service, did all that, different things with the drivers to make sure we could attract more people, and just doing tons of outreach. And
That's
so,
great.
we've done a lot of, some of it is outreach to people who don't know who we are or how to ride. But some of it is like, there's a transit group at the Point After Club. And so we met with them, and it's all riders. So there were 30 riders in the room that told us exactly what we were doing right and wrong.
The clubhouses are amazing. My
Right.
sister used to belong to Point After, and she's in Haverhill.
Yep.
And
We've
I
been
know
there, too.
the head of at least the Point After Club, and he's wonderful. They're
Yeah.
just being able to have that accessibility,
Right.
because my sister uses the bus system
Yeah.
and all of that,
Yeah.
and it's been essential.
Yeah.
So.
And it's good for us. Like one of the women is like she's one of our transit advocates that we go to when we're going
That's
to make
wonderful.
a change. Like, what do you think? Is this going to be terrible? Is this going to be great? And she's always, we can always count on her to let us know that she's going to
Yep,
take a poll
yep.
of the people and come back and say, and she does. She knows every one of our bus drivers because, like you said, our bus drivers are actually sort of a known entity.
Yeah,
Everybody knows
yeah.
them. They know their riders. Like Nina
And
could
that's
tell you
so
the name of all
important.
her riders when she was a bus driver, and they do notice when
Yep.
someone's not on. So they're like, we're
Yeah.
so and so.
There's like that built-in safety.
Right. We've noticed that they have, even on the fixed route buses, they notice when people aren't getting on and
I
off the
think
bus.
Yeah,
that
that's
that's
amazing.
fantastic.
Yeah.
And I love the fact that you're rebranding so that people aren't afraid to use it,
Yeah.
that people are going to have the ability, if they don't have the ability to go to whatever the local station is for downtown North Andover, where right now you're seeing somebody standing there wondering what they're waiting
Yeah.
for.
Yeah.
So having those covers will make
Yeah.
Exactly, so that
difference.
people truly understand, and it builds a tremendous amount of independence.
It builds
Yeah.
independence and community.
Yeah. And and things that people say to us is there an age limit? We're like, no.
No.
There's can you get on and off?
Yep.
Like
But that's where reaching out to the community.
and reaching out to the community. So, there was a church camp in Lawrence, and last year all of their kids were doing they're in Andover, but they were doing service projects in Lawrence, and all the kids took the public bus. And they all took the public bus to their service locations in Lawrence because it's free. So, they're teenagers, they can ride the bus. If we're in New York City, you're 5 and you're riding the subway to school. So, it's our mentality here is very different about public
we have to work on that.
But we don't have a problem with anybody
Yeah,
any
yeah.
age getting on the bus
Yep.
and taking it where they need to
Yeah.
go, and we're
And I
accommodating.
think
So.
my real job, I hear a lot of people saying that they don't have reliable transportation to get from point A
Yeah.
to point B in order to actually get a job and work.
Right.
Yeah.
And I think knowing about this and a functioning.
It's going to change the
Exactly, it's going to help
the
change
outlook
the
for
dynamic
people,
for
because now
everybody.
they
Right.
may be able to do
Yeah.
that.
And we don't really go into New Hampshire, but we do just go over the line to Plastow because
So you
we
can
do
connect
have-
to the transportation
so
up there?
I don't think they have.
I
their own
don't think they-
transportation
Oh, okay,
there,
I don't know
but
what they
for
have.
a lot of our folks in Haverhill,
But you
for
can at least
example,
bring them
they
to
work
Plastow.
there. Yes,
Yeah,
they work
so-
at Market Basket and in
Yep,
Plastow.
I know exactly where that is, yep.
And so we have been able to extend just a little bit to get into Plastow so that they can get to
So
work. They can go back and
that's-
forth to work. So
that's
we
amazing.
try to get the feedback from people in the community who most need transportation and make sure like every Greater Lawrence Family Health Center location across all 3 communities is on our bus route. All their pharmacies, are, all of our hospitals, like
Yep.
Anna Jake, both Holy Family, as well as Lawrence General, like Pentucket Medical, big locations, and urgent cares are all on our bus routes. So we try to make sure that we're hitting those major locations,
Yep.
like farmers market locations, public libraries, like places where people can get to do summer activities, for example. I was thinking, gosh, all of our public libraries do these summer activities
Yep.
for free, like hop on the bus for free, go to the
Yep.
public library
Yep.
for free. Some of them have meal sites there. You can take your kids and really have a free day.
And
so
I think that's huge for people.
yeah.
I know we're getting the
Yeah.
wrap it
Yeah,
up already.
Yeah, I think we're
Chatty.
coming to
We're
the
chatty.
end. No, but
Yes.
this has been so amazing, Christina. And I know, like Phyllis said, that over the summer we can take a ride on the buses and take a look. I think this is going to be great, and we'll be able to bring this
Yeah.
to our, our audience.
Yeah.
So
And
thank
all
you.
of North Andover.
Yeah. Yeah.
Thank you so much for being with us today, and please thank Neo. I know she had to run off.
She's
to
doing
something
outreach
else
today.
She's doing her job. so
Multiple hats
She's
for the
a
same
lot of
person.
hats. A lot of hats.
Thank you again. We really value having you here today.
Thank you both.
Thank you. And you reached out to me as opposed to me having to beg you, which
So
is
thank you again.
exactly, exactly. And you can reach Miva Transit at 978-469-6878 or at www.mivatransit.com. You can reach Neo at MENDEZ at MEVAtransit.com. And you can reach Christina at CMINICUCCI. Do you know how long that took me to remember?
That's like my name.
At mivatransit.com. Now, this information is special just for North Andover residents. The town of North Andover is seeking to fill vacancies on many boards and commissions. Each board and commission has its own obligation, but if you're interested in volunteering, please visit the town website at www.northandoverma.gov and click on Board and Com Info. On the left-hand side of this page, complete a volunteer form.
Yep.
Or you can contact Jillian Brothers with any questions at jbrothers@northandoverma.gov or call 978-688-9510. And then with all the weather changes, have you guys turned on your heat, your air conditioning?
Yeah, I don't know.
If you have heat pumps in your house, you're like
Wait
me.
5 minutes, it might snow. I mean, I don't
Exactly.
know. This
You might
has
have turned
been-
on the AC and then turned on the heat again.
Yeah, who knows?
Exactly. But however, are you prepared for higher electricity usage? If not, you can register with the town's community choice program, or choice supply program, I guess is technically what they call it. It might be time to check it out. You can call Colonial Power Group at 866-485-5858, extension 1 to learn more. But this is what's important. The key is you must opt in order to obtain the town contracted rates. So again, you can go to colonialpowergroup.com/North Andover or call 866-968-8065. Ask to join the town of North Andover's program.
We want to thank our crew this month from GLTS. It's Alex Santiago. From North Shore Academy, Zachary Jones. From Curry College, Carly Jones. GLTS alum, Cassie Buonamo, and John Kafori.
And oh my God, we're booking into next season.
We are. We're looking at, I think, we've already got our January 2024. So
No,
we're,
well,
pretty much
Yep,
potentially, but
yep.
then now we've got to book even further out, so.
So today's a wrap
Good
of our
problem to
today's a wrap of our 2022
Yes.
2023 season. Oh my God.
At the same time.
Well, exactly. What are you guys doing this summer?
You're looking at it.
We're just hanging. We're just
Working.
hanging, and I have my bestie from New York City coming up, and we're going to do a girls' weekend in August of all kinds of stuff. So
You know what I didn't tell you about MIVA, which is fun for summer? We have a free bus to Salisbury every Saturday that
Yay.
leaves the McGovern garage.
let's do it. We should. We
I
should
know.
do that.
And if you drive your car to McGovern garage, you can park for free that day and take the bus to Salisbury.
Oh,
What date is that
wow.
again?
Only on Saturdays, starting in July and
Nice.
August. But we go every day to Haverhill, from Haverhill to Salisbury Beach,
That's
starting
awesome.
at 5 a.m.
Oh, wow.
5
the
a.m. 's a little
hour.
early for me, but
On
yeah.
the hour, on the hour, 5 a.m. to 6 p.m.
Okay.
We leave from
That's
downtown
awesome.
Haverhill to Salisbury Beach. So that was a fun summer thing.
That's a fun summer thing.
Sorry.
Nope. And then I've got the Susan G. Komen 3-Day that I do every year.
Right.
Oh boy.
Busy summer.
Yes, yes. Don't let the ankle braces fool you. I'm in PT to get those ankles done up because, man, that's 60
she's not on
miles
house
walk
arrest.
over 3 days. That's not going to work. So starting talking about our 2023-2024 season, our first guest is going to be in October. Maternal Mental Health Leadership Alliance. They jumped at that date the moment I offered it to them. In November, we're going to be joined by Essex County District Attorney Paul Tucker.
Yep.
In December, we have Waystone Health and Human Services.
Yep.
And our final date that we have right this second is our January show,
The-
where we'll have the human-centered design.
Yeah.
Now, this is where it gets interesting because, Christina, you used to ride the train with me and me crying, who am I going to find as my next guest? So now we have commitments for next season from the following. We got J Cubed Communication, the Mass Department of Energy Resources to talk about the Mass Save program. I finally got somebody. Dogs for Better Lives, State Auditor Diana DiZoglio, and State Senator Barry Feingold, and finally, the Doug Flutie Foundation
so great.
and State Rep Adrian Ramos. In order to accommodate all of these guests, Stacy, I hate to inform you, but we're going to start taping multiple episodes each month from time to time. Yes,
Yes, I figured as much. That's
exactly.
okay, because we want to get this information out to the public.
With
North Andover.
this show has grown so much. I
Yeah.
love it.
Yeah.
But we're still constantly looking for new topics to explore here on Ability Assistance. We want to know what topics you want more information about. If there are any specific topics that you'd like to learn more about, email me at pjones@northandoverma.gov or call me directly, 978-494-0136. You can also text that number too. In addition to watching through your cable station, you can catch all of our programs on demand via YouTube, the Cablecast app through Roku and Apple TV, as well as mobile devices, North Andover CAM's website, and via podcast on Podbean. From all of us here at Ability Assistance, we're wishing you a happy, healthy, and safe summer.